guys, welcome back to AIC, and today I am shooting a very special video because I'm with a special guest here with me who's going to discuss with me about certain things that we need to know or just be aware of when it comes to the professional world, the corporate world. You know, how to build a professional network for yourself, how to build a good resume for yourself, and just like, nail those interviews.
And market yourself.
Yeah, market yourself. Yeah. I'm gonna let my guest introduce himself, but before we do that, I just wanna apologize that we are gonna shoot this video with our mask on, especially because it was really hard for us to shoot this video without this distancing. So we are really close, and that's why we're trying to be safe. And also, it's a requirement for us to wear masks in the library because we are shooting this video in the library. So please bear with us, and I hope that you are able to hear whatever we are going to discuss and talk about today. Yeah. I'm gonna let you introduce yourself. Okay, tell us your name, where you're from, your major, and a fun fact about you. Okay. And your year as well.
Okay. My name is Anthony Anya. I am from Little Rock, Arkansas. I'm originally from Nigeria. My major is computer information systems. Should I say a fun fact?
Yeah, fun fact.
I'm deathly afraid of like small insects. Like ants, like if I see an ant, I feel like it's
Tony, is it you scared of mosquitoes, or who was that?
No, that's not me. Oh. But like, if I see like a lot of mosquitoes just chilling, like, I'm gonna feel like they're attacking.
Oh my god.
So I can't be in that area.
Yeah, another thing is Tony does, is it
CrossFit.
CrossFit. I'm always making fun of him because he's so strong, and I'm like, so. Okay, so one of the really biggest reasons why I invited Tony to speak to us today is because he's really doing good in his professional life. Tony just recently got an internship, and I know that he nailed his interviews. I know that he really worked hard to also get here. I've seen him, I've experienced him, I've witnessed him grow as an individual, but also professionally. And I guess just maybe Tony, tell us a little bit more about your journey towards getting this internship. Maybe what were you looking for? How did you get your internship, and where did you start?
Okay. I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I did not know what I was doing throughout the whole process. It was a new process for me. I felt like I was entering like a new world. So firstly, I started doing a lot of research on potential like career trajectories I could go on. I started Googling things, then I went on LinkedIn. I saw different opportunities people were doing, especially with my major, computer information systems. So there's like an intersection between business and technology. So it kind of helped me have an avenue to go into different fields.
Yeah.
So I did that. I looked at different companies, and I went to their conferences.
Before you go on, you talked about LinkedIn, right? I don't really talk about it and the importance of it. People think it's just one of those where you go there to check out companies or people that work for a specific company. But I think personally, I think it has been such a useful tool. It has been a useful platform to just network with people. What are some of your tips or some of maybe your practices that you do on LinkedIn to actually connect with people or like find out information about something? What do you do?
Okay. I agree with you. I believe like LinkedIn is a huge asset in your arsenal of tools. I think everyone should have a LinkedIn account. So one of the things I did was kind of like figure out which professional opportunity I wanted. And so once I realized what I wanted to do, for instance, I applied to different like investment banks and financial firms. And I started to look up people who worked in those fields or in those companies, and started reaching out to them. I would typically connect with them and send them like a brief message saying, I'm very interested in your position and I want to learn more about it. Can I have like a few minutes to talk to you? Most of the time they didn't answer, but sometimes I was lucky. And one of those times when I was lucky, I was able to get a lot of information. So I did that a couple of times. And I've heard from multiple people that really helps leverages your application
Mm-hmm.
and puts it on a higher caliber as opposed to other applicants.
Mm-hmm.
If you really connect and seek out information and show your curiosity about the firm by communicating with different like employers and
mhm.
employees.
You talked about leveraging your application. I definitely agree with that because there were times when I was applying for something, and because I knew someone who referred me to that, my application was leveraged, or I was just better off. You know, I probably secured a lot of interviews through my connections than through my resume or my accomplishments, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I can't stress enough the importance of actually taking this kind of platform seriously and actually connecting. You also talked about conferences, the importance of actually connecting with people, showing your curiosity, showing your intellectual curiosity, your growth mindset, showing that you want to learn, not just about your industry, but also about their company, and you also want to discover stuff about yourself that maybe you currently do not have or possess. You know, I feel like through conferences you learn so much. You learn so much about the things that are happening out there, but it's also another way of connecting. I would say, what is maybe one of your biggest conferences that you have went to that, and you would look back and say, oh my God, that was really useful, or that was an important pivot point for me, you know.
Okay. Well, so in September I went on like a conference application frenzy. So I applied to multiple conferences.
Mhm.
So I got into one with JP Morgan.
Mhm.
It was called Advancing Black Leaders, as well as I got into one with Bank of America called Diversity and Inclusion Forum.
Mhm.
And they basically just talked about the job opportunities at the firm and the type of applicants they're interested in and potential advice as how to apply and do the interview process, which was very like helpful for me.
Mhm.
And also those conferences allowed me to learn more about the job opportunities
Mhm.
within their firms and how I can apply my major to the finance industry. So, and the overlaps between
Yeah,
the two.
and Tony is going to work. Yeah, he's going to work for Bank of America, guys, as an intern. He's just a junior, and I am so proud of him. I think that's a really, really huge accomplishment. So I'm really proud of you. The next thing is kind of looking at resumes, right? We talked about the importance of building connections, securing those interviews, but I think the first thing that somebody says when you connect with them is, oh, forward me your resume. Oh, yeah, apply on this website. And obviously, with every application, they require a resume. So what are some of the common mistakes that people do in writing a resume? And where did you start personally to write your resume?
Okay. So I feel like some common mistakes potentially may be like you make your resume a bit too creative.
Mm-hmm.
You want it to stand out a little bit too much as opposed to the other applicants, and that's okay, and it shows your individuality and.
And
how
I think it
unique you
depends
are.
on the course as well. Obviously, if you're a graphic design
Yeah.
thing, obviously that's different. Your resume is gonna want to also like showcase or be a reflection or a mirror of your graphic design skills, and obviously they're going to look for different things. But for example, us being in the corporate world is less about design and really what you have on there and also the details of that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Exactly. You should really like prioritize what you put on your resume. You want to market yourself, you want to put your accomplishments like at the top of your resume, don't put it at the bottom. Also show how you're a diversified individual, like how you pursue different things aside from academics, because they want to know you're a human being. Like if you pursue any like athletic sports on campus, if you're in college, or just different activities you're passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, I'm a Black Student Union treasurer. I do CrossFit at the local gym, and I'm part of a team. And different things of that nature. So just really show like what your extracurricular activities and just make yourself stand out.
Yeah, and I also agree with like how you talked about organization. So making sure you're categorizing the kind of stuff you do. You know, volunteering work. Is it maybe are you involved in a lot of leadership and you really wanna like showcase that to your potential employers? So you put that category, whether it's leadership experience, do you have really tangible work experience that you want to showcase? and obviously you need to make that very explicit. Would you say that people should put their GPAs on their resume? Is it a must?
I don't think it's exactly a must. I mean, if you have a good GPA, a decent GPA, it doesn't have. It's in your favor to put it on your resume. If you don't, I recommend not to put it on your resume.
Yeah.
So they could see what else you have to offer. Like maybe your college experience, you messed up along the way, but I guess you worked towards you exceeded your expectations, and you tried to better your academic record at the college. So like, and then you show them your extracurricular activities and what you did, and how you tried to pave a way of some sort.
I agree, because I think if you have a low GPA and you put it on your resume, normally those things appear on the top of your resume. So automatically a lot of employers see that as something not good, obviously, if you're not performing well academically. But sometimes they are really just circumstantial stuff that you maybe couldn't control, and they were beyond you.
Exactly.
And so because you have a low GPA, they'll automatically maybe trash out your resume because it appears at the top of that. So it's better if you don't put your GPA there, if you don't feel confident about your GPA, and just kind of focus on other important stuff that you have to offer or stuff that you have to put on the table.
I agree. Also, make sure you put transferable skills, with the skills you have, public speaking, if you know some programming languages, put that on there, because they do look at it and they want to know the skills you have to offer their institution.
I think another thing that we wanted to focus on is interviews. Sometimes there's that moment you apply for a job, you have connections, you apply for a job, they shortlist you for an interview, you go in an interview and you feel like you just mess up. I know there are a lot of really smart people that I know, people that are doing really good academically and just gaining some of the skills and experiences that they need for their specific industry, but once they go to interviews, they never make it out of interviews. So I guess this is kind of like a question, just focusing on interview questions, right? I know that they ask behavioral questions, they ask technical questions, and behavioral questions can also be situational. And I know that when we're talking about interviews and stuff, whenever we talk about that, when we're going for interviews, when I was going for my interviews, I made sure that I prepare adequately, just to also think about the whole concept of STAR. Can you elaborate more maybe on that and why it's important to use that?
Yes, I can. So in regards to the behavioral-based questions, a good way to answer these questions is the STAR method. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but STAR: situation, task, analysis.
Situation, task, action
and result.
Result, yeah.
Yeah, situation, task, action, and result. And you essentially kind of cater your explanation of that question they ask you based upon these categories. It really helps them know how you deal with situations and you overcome them, and also how you kind of learn from your mistakes if you don't overcome the situation in an adequate way. So just try to have that in the back of your mind.
And I guess I know that for example situational questions, some of them can be tricky in a way that they challenge you, they help you reflect on your experiences. I think it's one thing to be involved in stuff, to experience stuff, but it's another to actually learn from them and to grow from them.
Yeah.
And I think that's the whole point of situational behavioral questions, is not only how do you handle something, but also how did you grow from that. And for me, that was something that I really value I think this was in my interviews around this year when I was going through interviews for my full-time offer. I think what I realized is that there comes a point where people want to know, what did you learn from that situation? Okay, fine, you did that and you got good results. What did you learn? How did it impact people, And I thought that was really huge, because even when it came to my projects that I did in my internship, I was very particular with, this is what I did, this is what my role was, this were the good results. But then again, it was questions of, how did this impact the organization? Did it cause any cultural shift? Did it cause any organizational shift for the organization? And then that kind of shows also that growth. It helps you reflect in like overall, yeah. And then
No, I just wanted to add on to that. Just like honestly, just show when you use the STAR method, show the learning outcome. It shows that you have a growth mindset and you can learn from your mistakes and learn from different situations.
So talking about technical questions, right? For actuarial science, I remember when I was going through interviews for the company that offered me a full-time job. When I was preparing for that, I was a bit scared because I was like, oh, it's a full-time offer. The expectations are probably really high when it comes to the technicalities of actuarial science. I had an internship, but obviously you can't really gain all the skills that you want in an internship. And also this is kind of in a different industry. And so I was really scared. I remember I went to my career counselor, I went to Derek, and I was like, should I like prepare myself for some coding or something like that? And it's like, I don't really think they'll make you code, and stuff like that. But I think with like technical questions, what do you think are some of the technical questions that financial companies ask, or just like, the corporate world?
Okay. So I applied to many banking institutions, and so they ask you a lot of finance related technical questions, such as like, walk me through a DCF, what's an LBO, a leverage buyout, and name the 3 capital cash flows. I honestly knew nothing about that, had no expertise in that. That was not my major. I knew about tech and business. I didn't know about the finance world until recently. So I was very like apprehensive about my interviews because I felt like it was going to be heavily focused on that type of subject matter I was not familiar with. But they did not really ask me that. They asked me like a few questions of that, but they wanted to really just get to know who I was as a person, and like if I had or displayed any form of intellectual curiosity, whereby I despite me not knowing these skills, I can learn them.
And I think, I'm just touching on that, I think with technical questions, they are not expecting you to have a perfect answer for them, because they understand that you may not know those concepts, like how you're saying, you may not have encountered a journey that, made you know those concepts, but they want to know your thought process, Personally, technical questions, I feel like I like them in a way, because I feel like it's an opportunity for me to just freestyle, and they can be hard, but some of them can be simple, but I just want to know your thought process. I remember in one of my interviews, somebody asked me, how would I define life insurance to a child who's in grade 5? And this is something you don't really think about, but it's something that will require you to use your concepts that you know, but not go too much in advance, but also simplifying it to someone who's not at that level yet. And then the follow-up question to that was, now how would you define life insurance to somebody who's maybe ready to invest or ready to buy life insurance? So I feel like with technical questions, they just want to know your thought process. Did you go maybe out of your way to learn something, even if it's just about actuarial science, even if it's about the insurance industry, it's about financial market industry? Maybe your answer may not be perfect, but maybe you mentioned something that made them aware that, oh, he really did something to maybe know something about this industry or this company. So that on its own, it gives them that security, like you said, the growth mindset, that you don't have that fixed mindset that, oh, I'm only in my bubble, this is what I know kind of thing. It's like you are showing your ability and your eagerness to actually learn more, which is good. It's a good thing for the employers.
Everything is very intersectional. Like, to piggyback on what Rachel was saying, like, they really do want to know your thought process. I know some questions they may ask you is, how many windows are there in New York City? They want you to just explain your thought process behind it, like, there's 8 million people that live in New York, and each room should have a window according to such and such laws, this and that. They just want to know your thought process and how you think. It's not about getting the question right. I don't think there's even a right answer. They just want to hear you, like, talk.
And can you think on your feet as well? That's another thing, is when a company is going through a problem or they are facing a challenge, they want to know, are you able to think through that, you know, if you get that challenge, are you able to think through it? Are you able to develop appropriate solutions, thought process? And you know, that's why it's very important for them to focus on a thought process. And yeah, I guess the last thing is kind of just maybe certain tips, kind of summarizing the tips that we got from this discussion is definitely go out of your way to build connections and maintain those connections. And by connections, really, it's not about you using other people because of their position. It's really you building even your interpersonal skills. It's also you connecting with people, getting to know them more, building even relationships with those people that are maybe long-term or everlasting. You never know the kind of people that you encounter that will be there for you, or they'll be a part of your life. Some people out there are really just supportive, they are positive, they're amazing people. So it's a good way to actually like get to know people in the industry that you are in. Connect with people, the sky is not the limit. Go out there, attend conferences, sign up for associations. If you know any kind of association that you can be a part of, sign up for them, go to conferences and seminars and webinars and attend them. And I know right now with COVID, there are also a lot of like virtual events going on, which is making it easier for people to attend. So yes, go out of your way. And then the second thing is focus on your resume. What should be on your resume and what should not be on your resume. Encounter experiences that are helping you grow. Encounter experiences that are helping you actually develop that growth mindset, that development that you actually need to develop a substantial and a solid resume. And then the third thing is sort of answering interviewing questions. Answer them appropriately, and there's no right answer, but they want to know who you are, they want to know your thought process, and they want to know how your attitude and your aptitude, if that makes sense. They want to know how you approach stuff, they want to know what you learn from those stuff, and also how much you are willing to go for what you really want. So it's important that you practice adequately and you prepare adequately for interviews. I know this thing of, oh, I have an interview, I'm just going to freestyle. If you are an expert, yes, but take interviews as a way of practicing even your ability to connect with potential employers. Sometimes an interview is really, you're interviewing with a company that you may not even necessarily want to be like a part of, or you don't really know much about, but because it's an opportunity for you to practice that, it's an opportunity for you to connect with potential employers, even if right now they are not on your list. It's always good to sign up for those. So don't get discouraged if you're attending a lot of interviews and you're not getting any jobs. Keep going. I'm sure with time you also learn a lot from that. You also get to know what employers are looking for. And if you want to know where you messed up, go back to them, email them and ask them, is there anything that you think I should improve in? Maybe in this role, or even just me as an individual, you know. So getting that feedback will help you actually land maybe your dream job or even work for your dream company. So yeah, thank you so much, Tony, for joining me today. Yeah. I'm so grateful that you managed to transfer this valuable information and knowledge to my viewers. And anything you need to say?
No, I'm so happy to be here, but thank you for letting me be here. I'm so glad I had the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you come back next time. Thank you.
Bye.